molestation and so on that we've been through before, and the way in which child sexual abuse allegations are dealt with within the Jehovah's Witness community by the elders and so on, would generally delay any report being made to the authorities.
I would have to look at a case to determine that, if it happened in a certain case. But from my perspective, if they're mandated to report and they report, then their own investigation should be set aside while the criminal justice system does their work.
Well, you should know in Australia, and perhaps you do know this, that the current position is it's only in New South Wales and Victoria that there are crimes for not reporting.
Yes.
And there's no mandatory reporting to child protection authorities applicable in this context, because there aren't teachers or other designated professions.
Right.
So essentially, for the most part, absence of criminal sanction if you don't report, or mandatory reporting requirements. If people see within their community a system that is supposed to and tries to deal with these issues, that's going to delay any attempt to report outside and ensure that the authorities can deal with it.
Which is why I would advocate for those laws to be changed.
And the third social cultural factor, the one immediately beneath weak criminal sanctions, is ideology of patriarchal prerogatives for fathers. That's, of course, true within the Jehovah's Witnesses, isn't it?
I would have to read a little bit more about what they mean by patriarchal prerogatives for fathers, but it's possible.
Well, it's
possible that that's consistent, but I would just have to read a little bit more in the background of what they're referring to.
Right.
Because, for example, the one that you mentioned before, I've read some of that research, and really they're talking about in the absence of another sexual partner that a person would be more likely to abuse a child. And so there's more to each one of these than can just be read in one line.
I accept that. Of course, it is a patriarchal organization.
It is.
And in the third row, adjacent to the precondition of overcoming external inhibitors, insofar as social and cultural factors are concerned, there's certainly barriers to women's equality. You would agree?
Yes.
And there's strong ideology of family sanctity. You would agree?
Yes, I just don't know I don't know how that relates. So is this, generally speaking, I just haven't gone back, but when they are applying the model to these cultural factors, are they generally speaking about incest type offending?
No. No, it's not specifically not limited to that, because Finkelor.
No, I know Finkelhor wasn't referring to it. I'm talking about this application of it.
No, this isn't the application. This is a tabular form of the model.
Yeah, I would have to look at that a little bit more, because for organizational type abuse, or abuse that happens in organizations, that particular piece of it, it wouldn't be as related to institutional type abuse. But that would be related to incest type abuse.
Yes, yes. But if you've got a situation where what goes on in the family is very much the subject of the church, including the church's disciplinary processes, then and the church has a strong ideology of family sanctity, then this would be regarded as, or you would see this as being met, wouldn't you?
According to this, yes.
And what about the one immediately above that, erosion of social networks, insofar as instructions about not associating with worldly people are concerned?
You might see it that way.
And then in the last row, overcoming the resistance of the child, a social cultural factor of social powerlessness of children. Do you accept that within the Jehovah's Witness Church?
it's not a factor that I've looked at carefully. I would say that they've been encouraged to talk with their children about sexual matters, and that those lines of communication would probably be a helpful factor. The social powerlessness, I'm just not sure about.
Because this model would certainly raise for you some flashing lights about the social cultural environment of the Jehovah's Witness Church insofar as child sexual abuse is concerned, wouldn't it?
Tell me what you mean by flashing lights.
These factors come together really in a perfect storm for the Jehovah's Witnesses in the risk of child sexual abuse occurring there.
I think I would have to look at this more carefully to be able to say that. I just would have to look more carefully.
Those are my questions, John.
I think we should mark the document to end child abuse. I'll make it 2914. The document conceptualising the prevention of child sexual abuse will be 2915. Doctor, just to finish the discussion you and I had previously, if a woman brings an allegation that she's been sexually assaulted by a member of the Jehovah's Witness, and she does so because of her strong adherence to the tenets of the church and believes that she has to report, but she doesn't want to go to the authorities. She doesn't want to be involved in a criminal trial. And there's no other witness, and the alleged abuser doesn't confess. But those listening to her story don't have any doubt that she's telling the truth. But they can't take any action because there's only her evidence. What happens then within the church? I assume, well, you tell me, does the abuser then stay with all of his rights intact, and the woman would be required to, if she wished to remain part of the Jehovah's Witnesses, to interact with him in that environment? Is that what happens?
In addition to some other warnings or things of that nature, I would think that would be what would happen.
It's not a very good place to end up, is it?
It isn't.
No. Yes, does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, please, Your Honour.
Anyone else?
No, Your Honour.
No? No. Very well, yes.
Thank you, Your Honour. Your Honour, pardon me. Your Honour, Dr. Applewhite, as you know, my name is Andrew Tokley. I represent the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Australia, and I also represent 3 persons who are being called to give evidence before the Commission. Dr. Applewhite, I wish to ask you some questions about your report. If I may, if you could bring that up, please. Have that before you.
Pardon me, I don't want to interrupt you, but would it be possible to take a short break before we finish up?
Do you want to take a break now?
Would that be possible? Or,
Yeah, sure.
Or I just, is it all right?
Yeah, we'll take a short break. Let me know when you're ready.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Jason Morrison, theologist again. I just want to say thank you for watching the videos, and I hope you got plenty of self-rediscovery and freedom out of it. If you watched it on YouTube, please share or like, maybe even comment. If you watched it on Facebook, like, comment, share. But most of all, get out and live. This isn't a rehearsal. You've got a one-off life. Don't let your loyalty and your faithfulness blind you to the life that you should be experiencing. Till the next video, thank you for watching, and bye for now.